Quick time out in today's video. I want to talk to you guys about our sponsor, G Fuel Energy. If you're anything like me, you're locked in for late nights, breaking down games, watching wrestling, gaming, or just grinding content and coffee isn't cutting it anymore, this is where G Fuel comes in. No sugar, no crash, just clean energy that keeps you focused on pregame all the way through overtime. Whether I'm live, recording, or locked in the slate of games, G Fuel keeps me going. They've got a ridiculous lineups of flavors, collaborations, and a whole other group of well-known content creators a part of the movement. So you're definitely going to find one that hits. This is legit energy for creators, gamers, and sports fans who don't slow down. Use promo code PGHChRIS when you check out. It saves you money and supports the channel, which you guys know I appreciate more than ever. Again, that's G Fuel Energy /PGHChris, or use my promo code PGHChris for 20% off checkout. Now, let's get back into the video. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Unfiltered Wrestling here with PGHChris on PGHChrisTV, Spotify exclusive. I am your host, PGHChris. And today, we got some interesting topics. I know I wasn't here last weekend. I had a busy weekend. Post WrestleMania, NFL draft stuff, football stuff. But we're here on another episode for Sunday Unfiltered Wrestling for April 3rd, 2026. Again, I am your host, PGHChrisTV, sponsored by G Fuel Energy. You guys heard, you guys can use your promo code PGHChris, save yourself 20% off some G Fuel. And as well as Dude Wipes, official sponsors of the Sports Jedi Network, as well as Blackout Coffee. Go check out the Sports Jedi Network for all the wrestling content and weekly wrestling. Yesterday with me, Hoss, and Kev. It was a good show. But we guys know the deal here on Unfiltered Wrestling. 10 minutes, 3 topics. Try to go 30 minutes. But we're going to start off with a hot topic here, and it's a new set of WWE releases. Now, last Friday, it was announced before SmackDown that a couple of over 20 names were released. Zelina Vega, Aleister Black. Who else is coming to my head? I don't have the list in front of me. The Wyatt Six, that includes, Bo Dallas, all these guys, Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross. Lusa Crucifino is no longer with the company. There's a couple people, over 22 people that are released last week and yesterday. Or this morning, I should say. Well, no, yeah, yesterday morning, Saturday, we got the alert right before we went on Weekly Wrestling. I was out fishing with my buddy. Kofi Kingston departing in Xavier Woods, the New Day, departing from WWE, as well as JC Mateo and one of the Tonga twins. I think it was Tonga Loa, or the Tamatanga, excuse me. It was the one Tonga twin that botched the referee spot on his debut. But anyway, let's start with those two because we're gonna spend too much time on those. But with JC Mateo, formerly known as Jeff Cobb, and the Tongas, staying on Jeff Cobb because I'm more familiar with Jeff Cobb, outside of WWE before his WWE run. It's like he didn't fit the WWE system. He didn't fit the WWE universe. He's more of a wrestler first guy. Really has no character. Doesn't fit the entertainment part of what the WWE is. And I think he would have fit well in AEW from the start. Just like the Motor City Machine Guns who were released last week. It's going to be one of those things, right, where they're going to go to AEW now, and it's going to be, well, we should have went there first when I had the opportunity. So, don't really care to see what they do, but it's not a, the New Day. Let's talk about the New Day and Kofi, because it was a shock in the moment, just in terms of, excuse me there. They've been in the company for a while, specifically Kofi Kingston. I mean, he's grown in the WWE, and he hasn't really done much. I mean, Kofi Mania was the peak of Kofi Kingston's WWE run. That was in 2019, 2018, and WrestleMania 35 in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. He hasn't done much since. He hasn't done really anything since. I know him and the New Day are, one of the best tag teams in the company's history, but it's like they don't have any momentum. They have nothing there without Biggie. I mean, they tried to do it without Biggie. They tried to do this whole thing where they kick him out, blah blah blah. It didn't go anywhere. They did this thing now where they added Grayson Waller to the group, and I fucking hated it. I can't stand it. I hate the theme. I hate the heels. They, they teased something with Kofi and Xavier breaking up. They had some good backstage promos with each other, and then they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything, and it was very strange. So I don't know essentially what it is. They did mutually depart ways. Um, so it's gonna be interesting that where are we gonna see Kofi in the New Day? I personally don't think specifically Kofi. He has to wrestle. Um, he has a lot of children. I'm sure he wants to be at home. What's he really gonna do outside of WWE? In my opinion, I mean, he can go anywhere. I know a lot of people seem to want them in TNA. I'm gonna be honest. I think that's below Kofi Kingston to be in TNA. I don't even think he should be in AEW. I don't. I think it's for him. It's WWE or nothing in the pro wrestling business. That's just me. Xavier Woods, he came up in the grind. He came up in the mid TNA days, so he knows about making a name for himself outside of the WWE. So we'll see what happens with those guys. It was definitely a shock. And maybe we'll see something with Kofi Kingston, and we don't know. And the future is to be determined. Before we go into our next topic, I just want to give a quick shout out to Rebel, TNA or former TNA knockout, current AEW's Rebel. I mean, it's sad to see what she's going through. She was, had a lot of health issues in the past, over the last few years. She recently got diagnosed with, I believe it was ALS, um, which is heartbreaking, which is sad. I mean, I remember, you know, she got a lot of shit because her and Shelly Martinez is probably the worst TNA match ever, at least in the women's. But I enjoyed her run. She was, I believe, with TNA from like 2013 to like 2016 ish. Um, I think that's when it was there because she was in the stable with Crazy Steve. I forget what they were called, the Menegrite, or something like that. Um, she was in a because they did the 6-person tag team match with Robbie E and some other guy, which was Robert Stone. I forget Robbie E's partner, but I was like Velvet Sky. They did like a 6-person tag. It was like two guys and the women, and I remember the women being Rebel and Velvet Sky, and then they eventually, had some things going on, and then she ended up fighting Angela Love. um it was interesting. It was interesting, but nonetheless, it is very, very sad. um I wish her the best. I hope, you know I just hope everything goes well for her, man. For the last few, um however long she has. And I hate to say it like that, but man, it's very sad. It's very sad. I really, hope everything goes well for her right now. But going back to the wrestling. I mean, it's crazy. Because we talked about this on Weekly Wrestling. I want to talk about TNA's president Carlos Silva. He made an appearance on Busted Open this weekend, or this I believe Thursday. Um no, it was Wednesday, excuse me, because Tommy Dreamer was on. There were him and the TNA World Champion Mike Santana, which me and Kev over on the Sports Jet Network have had the privilege of interviewing Mike Santana twice, as long as President Silva one time right before their show at the Slammiversary UBS Arena last year, which we were both very fortunate to attend together. They were on Busted Open, and Carlos Silva addressed the rumors, not the rumors, but him pulling Nick Nemeth from the Create a Pro show that I believe took place this past Friday. Um, you know, I'll say this: I give Silva a lot of props. I mean, he said it himself. He doesn't like being called a little bitch on social media, but it's okay. He takes the good with the bads, and he has to make hard decisions. And he ultimately confirmed that he made that hard decision to pull Nick Nemeth away because he needed to protect his company. He needed to protect his assets. He needed to protect his employees and his players, essentially in the sports world. And he addressed a little bit about the Leon. He said they tried to make good business, take a few phone calls, and try to make up the best we could. But the key thing is, he said in his quote, "It was my decision. I take full ownership." I got a great team, and we talk about these things together. Who is this team? Is this is this some WWE influence? I was almost gonna say TKO, but I'm not gonna go that far right now. Is this producers, Anthem, anybody in NXT? Who is your team? I'm very curious on that. We'll never know. Um, but I give him props for addressing the situation. I don't blame him for doing what ultimately he thinks it's best for his company. Who are we to tell a businessman how to run his company? If he makes the bad decisions, he makes the bad decisions. But it's not our place to tell him, what if his decisions are good or bad. We could have our opinions about it, but at the end of the day, we have to respect them. That goes for Tony, Triple H, well, TKO. I mean, they're too corporate, so fuck them, really. But anybody, any business owner, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I think Dave asked a question, and he was his right to ask that question. All that, most of it took place, really 95% of it took place on his platform. The 5% being Twitter and social media. So I liked it. I liked it. Again, I give Silva a lot of props. He's a great best thing that happened to TNA for a while. He just needs to communicate more. He's still learning this business on the fly, and I want him to do what he thinks is best and not what other fucking outsiders are telling him to do. That's the one thing. I have so much respect for Silva. I hope he's making these decisions on his own with no partner conflict interests influence, because that's what this originally was. This was conflict or partner interests conflicts or whatever the fuck he worded it. We gotta do better. We gotta do better with the communication. Yeah, this probably won't be 30 minutes, chat. This is a busy Sunday. I got to run here. I want to make sure I have an episode up for you guys. I wasn't here last week. But it is important that we talk about it. I want to talk about the AEW fans. I'm seeing something right now as we speak, and this will be the last topic of the afternoon. They want a Continental Classic Continental Classic tournament for tag teams. I saw some Noah Gilbert, Blue League, Young Bucks, Rascals, Bang Bang, Motor City Machine Guns, if they come there, whatever, Gold League, FTR, Jet Speed, Burdito, Death Riders. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. This is ridiculous. We don't need any more tournaments in AEW. We have a women's and a men's Owen, and we have the Continental Championship. We don't fucking need it. Tony wants to put a tournament every time the titles are vacated. We don't need it. He wants to put sometimes a tournament for a number one contenders. We don't need it. We don't need a Continental Championship tag team tournament or whatever the fuck. What we're going to do, make Continental tag team champions? Give me a break. Noah Gilbert, you're a clown. Your comment was clown. You speak clown. Go to a circus, my friend. That has to be the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. I can't. What? So we could have FTR and the Bucks in the finals? It's ridiculous. These AEW fans are insane sometimes. But overall, this was a short episode of Sunday Unfiltered Wrestling. We're gonna have a longer episode next week. Should have more stuff should happen within this week. I've been very, very busy with the Steelers content. Go check out the YouTube channel at PGHChris on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Rumble, Kick, every platform. I stream. I upload videos. Follow me on TikTok as well. We are sponsored by G Fuel. And make sure you guys leave a like on the Spotify. I appreciate you guys. We're going to hear one more time a quick ad from G Fuel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, quick time out in today's video. I want to talk to you guys about our sponsor, G Fuel Energy. If you're anything like me, you're locked in for late nights, breaking down games, watching wrestling, gaming, or just grinding content